here. Attempt number 3 at filming this video because I haven't gotten past the intro because first one I sounded weird, second one my wife laughed at me. Hopefully this one's a go. I had an idea. Don't know if it's lame, probably is. You know the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Some inks have some really funny names sometimes, or bizarre names, so I decided to get some samples that I thought had the best names. So I very much judged an ink by its name. Hashtag judge an ink by its name. So 4 samples here, and I'm going to swatch them, and I haven't decided. I'm either going to tell you why I like the name, tell you a story related to it, or just tell you what I think the ink should look like. Had an idea, but as always, really didn't put any further preparation into it. I've got 4 inks. An ink I'm not going to swatch, but I've swatched before. Do you know what? I'll flip to it in here. Is, and this will probably only make sense for Aussies. Where is? Honourable mention to freshwater bog. Bog in Aussie slang is another word for poop. So I don't think any Australian ink maker would be naming an ink, plain outside, with the word bog in it. I know it isn't that. I think it's got to do with like being bogged down, like a lake or river or whatever. But in Australia, I just thought of a good segue. In Australia, a bog is a slang word for a poop. And there is a very, very gross term called an after grog bog, which means an after alcohol poop, which is a perfect segue into our first ink, Robert Oster, Santa's Hangover. God, I didn't even prepare that. I promise, no more poop talk. Robert Oster, Santa's Hangover. I'm hoping this is like a dirty red, like a red that looks a bit sickly. That's what I think of. I think I find Christmas. So I'm Jewish. So growing up, I didn't have Christmas, and my wife, who I've been with for a very long time now, isn't Jewish and does celebrate Christmas, and I feel like I'm still in the kid stage. Christmas is awesome. You get all these presents, and I just didn't have that growing up. But now that we'll watch Christmas movies together and getting our kids into it, and which is amazing to see it through their eyes. But when you watch all these movies and Christmas is warm and chestnuts and snow and fires and cozy sweaters, it feels so unrelatable because in Australia it's hot. We have a summer Christmas and barbecues and, well, usually a lot of alcohol. Not really something that I partake in. I don't really see the reason to get sloshed on Christmas, and I think also with young kids you just don't, but a lot of people do, and I would imagine on Boxing Day a lot of people don't feel very good. Really not what I thought it was going to look like. This looks happy to me and vibrant. It's more orange than it is red. So completely judging an ink by its name, I don't think that looks like Santa's Hangover. I think that looks like Santa first glass of champers or maybe a mimosa on Christmas morning, open some presents, it's come out, not feeling that gross overeating feeling. I think that's Christmas Day, 10:30, 11. So Robert Oster and I differ on that one. In terms of the ink, I think I actually like the bits where it's lighter around here. It almost has like a peachy, blushy, not blush, maybe more like salmon color to it. It's not really one I can see myself using too often, but I wonder with some shading, would it be nice putting in a flex pen for some writing practice? So this is it's writing pretty light there as well, isn't it? Robert. Oh, I thought I had tons of ink on that. Robert Oster. So, first cab off the rank, I disagree with the title. I don't think it looks like Santa's Hangover at all. Next up, Warringal Inks, a taxidermied genius. I just think that's a brilliant name for an ink. It's so bizarre. I have no idea what a taxidermied genius would look like. I mean, you could go kind of dark and go, well, it should have some aspects of red because, taxidermy involves dead things, but then actually don't you drain all the blood? So I have no idea. I just think it's a fantastic name for an ink. So, so bizarre, which I love. I have, however, am I going to fit 4? I'll go here. I have known 2 different people who have done taxidermy. I used to work with someone, and I was working at the time, still kind of work in the field, but in like youth homelessness and like youth welfare and stuff like that. And she had previously worked as a professional taxidermier, and then decided to get into the sector I was in. And so then just did taxidermy as a hobby. And she kept an esky in her car, in the boot of her car, because if she saw roadkill while driving around, she would pick it up so she could taxidermy it. I don't get it. All for people having skills. I just don't get it. And never really wanted to get in her car. Because what was in the back? I haven't actually spoken about the ink. I've just started writing. So I actually think this is a really beautiful ink. Does it look like a taxidermy genius? Sure. I think this ink has some genial qualities. It's got some really nice shading in there, really like this pooling bit, like we're starting off in like this pinky color and then you can see it's coming into reddy, browny black, which is really nice. Some cool haloing. Definitely love the variations, and there's actually layers of shading. It's not just the light bit and then the dark bit. There's these like bits in the middle here. I don't know if that's coming across, hopefully. So definitely has layers. This is, I would like to look up and find out why Warringal named it this. I definitely think my writing is messier when it's bigger. Taxidermy genius. So, sure, that could be what that is. Who knows? Definitely think it's a cool name and a cool ink. So in that sense, I actually really like that ink. As it dries, I like it more and more. Look at the darker bits. In that handwriting sample, didn't get much shading at all, but I was writing quite fast. So I do wonder if I slowed down a bit, on those downstrokes, let the ink pool, would I get more variation there? Awesome. 2 down, 2 to go. So should we say we're 1 for 2 in terms of judgment, being aligned with the names or not? 1 for 2. Let's see how we go. Next up, Colorverse Delicious Sleep. Now, I know that this one is from their Joy in the Ordinary series. To me, this ink should feel warm and like a cuddle, and it should just look welcoming, but maybe somewhat unattainable. Not too much to ask. Let's see how we go. I want to try the Colorverse Brunch Date, which I think is from the same series. So you can see that it's a purple. What did I say? It needs to be welcoming, but somewhat unattainable. Then I think they've named it correctly. Another read could be, it's somewhat of maybe just a basic purple, and sleep is a very much a basic need, Maslow's hierarchy and all. think it's a relatable color. I think it is welcoming, but I don't know if it's unattainable. I think unattainable for me would be like chromo shading. I do not know how one ink can be that complex and layered. That's what I think of when I think of unattainable. I would love also to know what if you were to judge an ink by its name, like what you would think that these ones would look like. So can I go half points? I don't know why I ask questions thinking I'll get responses. Well, I will get responses, but not in real time. So Colorverse feels nice on the nib. I will say that. But I don't know if it looks like, it definitely looks warm and welcoming. So I think it has ticked the box there. And maybe for fountain pen lovers who don't have a baby and almost three-year-old, sleep is quite attainable. So then it would be hitting that mark a bit more. So maybe my judgment is, I was going to say my judgment is biased. Of course it is. But I'm coming from a niche of a certain stage of life. So let's give them the point. Let's do it. Let's give them the point. So we are 2, 4 out of 3. Definitely not really getting any variation in the writing. I think it just looks like a standard, not standard, but like well-behaved on the simpler side of colors. Really not getting any shading there at all. I wonder if this has a sheen to it. I'm just not seeing it on Stalogy. Let's have a look right in there. Possibly a black one. Maybe. It's definitely got a black halo around that pool there, but not getting anything in the writing whatsoever. All right, last but not least, this ink is loved by many. I haven't written with it, but I've been written to letters where someone's used it with one of their pens and it looks incredible. But it also has an interesting name, but I definitely wanted to try it as well. And that is Troublemaker's Milky Ocean. I think it's a funny title. Judgment-wise, when I think of like Milky Ocean, I think of, those different like bubble tea drinks, and they have those kind of awesome colors. So I think of like a pastel blue, but then you have the bubbles at the bottom, which also relates to an ocean that can have like different colors in it, but it doesn't overpower that milky blue. So for me, Milky Ocean, milky blue, that's what I think of. I've actually never had one of those drinks. Just could never drink a full thing of milk. I'll get so sick. And I don't know, the bubbles are kind of, I don't get it. I don't get the texture. But that's what it reminds me of. And I think that like Milky Ocean would also be a name of one of those drinks. So let's have a looky-loo. It's times like this I wish I had a dip pen with, ooh, wow, it's so cool, without a fine nib, because I think we'd see more of it. So I reckon that's right. It does look a bit more purple than I thought it was going to, but the blue with like it is like pastel-y, like that's kind of what I was describing. And because of ink the way it is, the way that these different pools collect, you're getting things of waves. And I actually did say that, like the bubbles would be of a different color. So maybe those bubbles are the purple. I think I did think it would almost be in reverse. But you know what? I started off really judgmental, and I feel like I'm just getting easier as we go on. Let's give it to them. I'm happy. Yes, Milky Ocean. And you know what? Another way you could think of Milky is like the Milky Way and all the different stars and stuff in the sky. And it could, it's an ocean of stuff. Like I've got my hand like gesturing to absolutely no one. So let's give it to them. I think that's cool. And you know what, this ink also goes to show that even if it doesn't completely make sense with the name, when you just have an absolute kick-ass ink, you could name it whatever you want. Absolutely whatever you want. So this is, sorry if I wasn't allowed to say bum. I tick the not made for kids thing. I wonder what we'll see in here. What happened to my K? Is it? It's Troublemaker Inks. Troublemaker Inks. So do you know what? Even with this fine nib, you are seeing bits of that chromo shading, which is really impressive. And it's darker than I thought it would be. It's not going to be one of these inks that's like completely illegible when you write with it, which is cool as well. I know that is a little bit of me judging the ink and not the name, but I think it fits. You know, that description I have of relating it to those milky tea drinks. I've seen them in that color, that real pastel-y color. So I'm gonna say yes, that works. So that brings us to the conclusion of the inaugural Judge an Ink by its Name series. Will there ever be another series? Maybe. If you have inks you want me to judge by the name, put them below. It was kind of fun. Is it bad to say it was kind of fun being mean to inks? Yeah, a little bit. So going through them again, up the top we have Robert Oster's Santa's Hangover. Don't see the relation at all. Waringel's A Taxiderma Genius. I'm happy to give it to them. Colorverse Delicious Sleep. I'm a bit on the fence with this one. I do think it looks welcoming. It is a really cool black around there, but sleep is a really necessary but also complex need. So I just wonder if it's slightly on the basic side for that. And Troublemaker's Milky Ocean. Yeah, that is a milky ocean to me. It's got a magical quality to it. Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. If you can hit like and subscribe, that'd be great. I said it before, but what are some ink names that you just don't get and want to be judged? And I will see if I can give it a go. I will see you all next time. Bye.